So what we're looking at today is trying to build a template for the double feature format, starting out with white blue. So a little bit about the two archetypes, both in mid and in val. For white blue, this is probably my favorite archetype ahead of blue black, but very close in Midnight Hunt, just because it was a good foil to blue black. It played a very value oriented attrition, grind you out. They can get card advantage from all the disturb creatures and just ability to eventually just run the opponent out of resources and win with usually some flyers from disturb, or maybe with ground creatures if you happen to have a creature that could tap all their creatures down, maybe a tapper or maybe a Scob Wrangler. The way that blue white usually plays for me in Val, though, it's a little more tempo oriented, a little more of a blue white skies. Oftentimes you're generating 1/1 spirits, either with like Brine Combers or Nature's Embraces, or Nature's Presence, sorry, and then you're just trying to out tempo them before the opponent can use all the cards in their hand, catch up, stabilize. So those don't go together super well, unfortunately. But I think the ability to have disturb both on creatures and on enchantments, and uh, a bevy of very good common and uncommons gives it a chance. So the rules we've kind of set for these, because the packs do have two rares, one from each set, four uncommons, two from each set, and then the remaining are commons split between the sets. You're a little less likely to see commons and uncommons. So we're going to just limit it to a max of one common and one uncommon. So we're not going to see, two Lunarch veterans and two traveling ministers and something like that. But then also appreciating that because there's just limited cards from each set, you need to have at least 7 to 8 cards from each set. And because I think many people would agree, at least for this archetype, that Midnight Hunt was stronger than Val in terms of the card quality at common and uncommon, it's likely that most of these decks are going to have a higher density of Midnight Hunt cards in these templates, these deck shells that we're building. And then we're actually just going to walk through the process. I've selected almost all the cards that are in these colors. Some that are just not playable are included or just don't really fit the theme. And we're going to try and walk through a thought process of whittling this down to a reasonable 40 card deck. And we'll see how it goes. So I will say, for the most part, my Midnight Hunt blue-white decks were heavier on the creatures and lighter on the spells, because we're trying to grind opponents out. We're going to play our creatures a second time with Disturb majority of the time, and we can just use those to block and trade, and don't necessarily have to have as much tempo type cards like with the bounce or the counter tapping, things like that. So I think that's likely the way that blue-white will play effectively in double feature. So with that in mind, we're also going to say can't have more than 10 uncommons, just because they are going to be a little tougher to come by. Because there are 4 uncommons rather than 3, we may be able to get uncommons, but thinking that we're going to get a particular uncommon, it's tough to say that just because there's only 2 for each color. 2 for each set in the packs. So I think I'm probably going to limit us on some of the interaction to just the absolute best. And we may not have much uncommon interaction because we're likely going to be favoring our uncommon picks for the very strong, valuable, multifaceted creatures. So with that in mind, probably can cut Syncopate. We have tons of counters, so we'll see what rises to the top if we end up with any counters in the deck. But we'll start out losing Syncopate, losing Delver, because we're probably not going to have too many non-creature spells. Losing Consider. We can generate card advantage through other means. Don't necessarily have to have a Consider for smoothing or anything like that. Cobblers are... This probably isn't the deck for it, because we want to have our creatures in the graveyard to play back on their Disturb side. Again, probably not going to have an Alchemist Retrieval. Trapper's probably not going to make it, but maybe we'll tackle that in our next cuts. with all the exploit that does exist, and just in general, these pseudo-pacifism type effects aren't great. Cannon Trap wasn't great, but wasn't awful in Midnight Hunt. But now adding exploit, it's probably not going to make the cut. I liked Blessed Defiance, but I think we'll probably have better interaction. So maybe on the next cut we'll get rid of that. I think our spells like Adamant Will, those that are combat tricks or maybe can save a creature, probably not going to make it. Just too easy to get blown out with those. Bloodpecker, we don't have enough exploit in these colors with losing some of those cards from Val. I don't think we can spend uncommon picks on removal, even though Circle Confinement is very good. Flare of Faith, same issues before. Bleeding Spirit's already not great. It doesn't really fit the kind of grind out quite as well. There's probably not enough life gain to waste an uncommon pick on a Panic Bystander. Oftentimes we're going to have more creatures than our opponents. It may very well have more life. So Sunset Reverie doesn't make as much sense. Unruly Mom's just asking to get blown out with a potential bounce spell or just killed before its useful card. You just draw it late and it's a 1/1 for 2. I like Covetous Castaway a lot, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to take advantage of it quite as well with not having as much exploit. With just a little bit of blue on the creature side. Again, balance with Geistwave. Love Lunar Rejection. I think green-red with Wolves and Werewolves already was probably the worst or next worst deck in Midnight Hunt. And it's certainly better in Val, but I think it's going to be tough to waste an uncommon pick on Lunar Rejection just because it's not necessarily a deck we're going to have as much of a tough time against. Don't think we can waste an uncommon on Catgeist. I've loved me some cute Serpentine ambushes. When you have like Double Strike set up or a flyer that goes unblocked. But it's not cream of the crop. It might be something that you potentially have if it comes down to playables, but don't want to count on it. Love Sifters, especially with even more spirits. Love Scott Wrangler. Big fan of Startle. Might be able to include this. It's going to be tough, though. I don't think this will be a deck that has a tough time with getting creatures down and blocking. To play the Spirit, Steelclad Spirit, probably won't have that. We're not going to count on getting more than one Wretched Throng. Even if we had 2, I don't think it's a card you want to play in these colors. Graphkeeper's bonkers. Faithful Mending, not great for the uncommon to be using it for. Stratton Geist isn't great in Val. I don't think it's going to hold up in Midnight Hunt in Val. Same with Griff Rider. Loyal Griff is tough to spend an uncommon on it. Even if it is a good card, we do have some come into play effects, but for the most part, we want our creatures to be dying to replay them. I don't think we're going to have enough humans for Resistance Squad. I think Arm the Cathars is just asking to get blown out. And you have to... You can't play from behind with this card. You have to maintain being ahead. And that might happen, but if people are playing some of the amazingly good removal in Midnight Hunt, or some of the okay removal in Val, it's just asking for being an issue. Biomega's probably the best or second best blue uncommon in Val, because, I mean, you can get Exploiters, but in this color pair, we only have a few blue Exploiters. None from Midnight Hunt. It's probably not one that's going to be able to make the cut unless you're confident you can get Exploiters, or maybe already have some. Maybe you have like a rare Exploiter or some of the uncommons already. I like chill a lot, but we probably have to limit the interaction we play. I think we'll keep Flip the Switch for now just because of how well it played in Midnight Hunt Limited. We can keep Dice Light Snare for now, but it's probably not going to make the cut just because it is an uncommon, and we're not going to have as many enchantments as we do in Val, because our disturbed creatures come back as creatures from Midnight Hunt. Intruder's great. We'll keep the Roost for now. It's very... You've got to really be all in on the Disturb for this. We'll keep the Archivist's great card. I just don't think Exploit's going to play well. We don't have as many of the creatures we want to be exploiting. I mean, yes, you can, exploit, your Twin Bless guys or your Anglers or creatures like that. But we'll keep that for now, but it's probably not going to make the cut in the end. Siphon Essence, okay counterspell, but don't really have room for it. I think we're probably going to end up with common card draw if we have any, but Midnight Hunt kind of punish you for just playing draw spell cards if you weren't adding to the board as well. We're going to have to fight with other good creatures that are on the ground, and you'd be able to block decay tokens if need be, or just other creatures. I don't think we're going to get as much benefit from Witness the Future because we want to keep our disturbed creatures in the graveyard. Bride Encumber is amazing. Love to have one of those. Clarion Cathars, it doesn't quite do enough for 4 mana. Dualcraft Trainer is great. Silversmith can really play to get a +1/+1 counter on some flyers. Heron's really good in Val because it helps you kind of fight through some people trying to attack you back by getting some life gain, especially if you have repeatable life gain like with a Traveling Minister. We're going to see fewer Traveling Ministers, so I don't know if Heron will end up making the cut. I think we're not going to be quite tempo enough to play Supernatural Rescue. Gale Drifter is just overall not great. Same with Gutter Skulker. I think we'll be able to get through in the air most of the time. If we can get an Organ Hoarder, we'll be in great shape. That's probably going to be the #1 card we're looking for in almost any deck that has blue, common-wise. Again, we're not going to have too many instants or sorceries to bring back with Repo Scob. We'll hold off on cutting Scatter Thoughts for now, but it probably doesn't end up making it. Wisdom Wizard's just asking to be removed by a 1 or 2 mana removal spell, and it can run away with the game, but it's tough to count on that. Same with Cruel Witness. I think we'll have other flyers. And then Devious Cover-Up, same thing, tough to play a 4 mana counter spell. Probably not going to end up with the Geist, but need a little bit of top end. I'm going to say probably no. Same with the Griff as well. I liked playing these at Midnight Hunt, one of them, but I think we're going to have some better top end. So Quartermaster might make it in. It's good. It's just uncommon. I think we can push through in other ways without the Amalgam. Same with the Spirit, and same with the Scob. And then one of these two might end up making it in. We'll see as we get to cuts. So we're down from over 100 to 64, so we still need 27 more cuts. But we do have a reasonable curve. We can see we're heavy on the 2s and 3s, which is probably what this deck wants to do, because a lot of these are going to be cast again for 2 to 4 mana, for their disturbed sides. So this is where we kind of say, okay, these are all pretty good cards, and they've got some synergies, but a lot of them stand on their own as C plus type of cards. So gotta figure out what are we trying to do here. I think it's still going to be a little more on the grindy side. I don't think we're going to be able to count on having as much ability to have tempo just because I don't think the cards are the Midnight Hunt cards are probably on average stronger than the Val cards, so we probably have to lean towards that type of strategy. So I don't think we can count on the. No, it's really like Chaplain Alms, but I think we can only have so many uncommons, so we'll give that a cut. I think we'll have to. So we want a Lunar Art Veteran, we want a Traveling Minister, we want a Lantern Bearer. I think we probably want a Larder Zombie as well. Ones are just super strong. I don't know if we're going to end up with enough Disturb just because Blue-Black's going to be big. They're going to be picking cards from our decks. Green-White will probably be there, and even maybe in our Blue-White Drafter. So I don't know if we'll be able to play with the Gaze, but we'll see. I'm gonna cut the Defiance and cut the Trapper. Okay. Then we can get rid of some of these 2s. So we'll say we're at right now just one uncommon with Fading Hope from our 1-drop. Vicious Farmhand's great. We'll see if we can keep it. I think we can get rid of the Witch and the Commando. I think Drogstall Infantry is going to help us a ton. Probably trades with something and then put our armaments on a flyer and go to town. If we're being grindy, a 2-mana remove almost anything is going to be real useful. If we have to use it for its cleave cost for some value creature the opponent has that never puts into combat, like their own Scab Wrangler or something else, might need that. I don't know. Nurture Presence was very good in Val. Probably one of the top commons in this color pair, so it probably ends up staying. I don't think we can count on a trainee working well on the ground. I don't know if we can use an uncommon on removal either, even though we probably do need some removal. Bait Hook Angler's probably going to play great, just like it did in Midnight Hunt. I don't think we can do Crady. Sifters is going to be great. We're getting tons of spirits again from Val. There may be other ways to discard cards if we do end up, finding those potentially. We'll see. I'm going to try and keep Scab Wrangler. That's a value uncommon creature that isn't really able to be replaced. We'll come back to Startle. I love Startle. It just does so much for 2 mana. So here's Drake. I think we want to try and keep Drake if we can, just because we're going to have, as we've seen, in Val, we can put our enchantments on the creature. It may end up not making the cut just because we don't have as many Val cards that we're going to see, so we're less likely to get a critical number of Disturb enchantments that we can put on Drake. So probably ends up not making the cut. We'll see. We want our gold cards that are just great. Devoted Grafkeeper's one, Broadcomber's another. I think we have to not go in on the exploit plan. It's just unlikely to play out. I think this will be a little tougher to make. Geist-like Snare via a 1-mana Mana Leak. It'll oftentimes probably be a 2-mana Mana Leak, but it's tough to ask of that for an uncommon. So I like it, but it probably isn't going to be able to stay. I think we try not to play Binding Geist if we can. Dawnguard's great for that grind, that card advantage. I like Imprisonment, but I think it's going to be tough to play that when we add the Midnight Hunt cards in. I like Morning Patrol, like Kindly Ancestor, like Borrowed Time. I don't think we're going to have enough life gain to make Heron of Hope consistently good, unfortunately. And I don't think we're going to be able to play Scattered Thoughts. We're going to have to get our card advantage from replaying creatures, and it's just tough to spend 4 mana on that when we have cards, like Organ Hoarder and Revenge of the Drowned. They're just so tempo positive and value oriented. Okay, we're down to 53. I think it's going to be tough to play Phantom Carriage. It's just going to be so expensive. It was already a tough play. In Midnight Hunt format's probably going to be a little. It's tough to say what the power level is going to be like. You're seeing more rares and more uncommons. It's probably not going to play. Same with Screaming Swarm. Okay. Let's go back through again. So let's look at our Disturb count with what we have to figure out if an Worldly Gaze makes it or not. So nothing at 5, nothing at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's right on the cusp. Okay, at this point, let's break down creature, non-creature. Okay. So we've got 9 non-creatures. Okay, we're probably still going to need to cut that a little bit. Okay, let's... Yeah, 25 creature, 9 non-creature. Okay, a decent number of humans. It's that kind of makes sense. Decent number of spirits and soldiers as well. Okay. Let's look at our uncommons. Fading Hope, 1. Roost 2. Borrowed Time, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we've got to get rid of 5 uncommons and then probably 6 commons. Okay. So interaction-wise, we can... Revenge is great. I imagine it'll still be great. Fierce Retribution makes sense. I don't know if we can play the Fading Hope in the Borrowed Time. I'm going to say we're probably less likely to go with the Fading Hope compared to a Borrowed Time. Okay. Like all of our ones for now. I don't think the Drake's going to work out. I mean, it can just be bonkers. Drop it on 2, drop a presence on 3 maybe, and drop another 1-drop. Or maybe you gazed and you had, some of these, ancestor or something, but it just doesn't look like we have too many things we can attach to it. I mean, it's a, Lantern's Lift, Armaments, Invocation, Sister's Embrace. It's not enough. Okay. That being said, if it's there, I'd probably take it if it's early on because, it's an uncommon. It's good, but it's tough to count on it. Okay. Okay. Man, this is tough. Okay, we might be a little too grindy to... Well, I like the captain, but might not be able to play the captain. I don't think we're going to have enough from the graveyard to play the Roost. Okay, let's make sure we don't have too many Vow or Midnight Hunt cards. So let's see. Looking at Vow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've got 10. So we've got enough there. Still gotta get rid of some creatures. I don't think we can count on Gaze working for us. It was great in Midnight Hunt because you could also get disturbed creatures you could play, but if we just get disturb enchantments, we need to have creatures to put them on. I'm not sure if we're going to have enough stuff we're holding up mana for, so Flip the Switch is good. You're probably going to want one if you can get it, but I don't think we play it. And uncommon wise, okay, we can probably land on 18 creatures. Let's see if we can maybe get rid of 5 more of these. Okay. Uncommons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Got to get rid of 2 uncommons and then 3 commons. Oh, it's probably Farmhand as good as this was. It's probably Farmhand and probably Twin Blade Geist. Okay. Gotta have some top end, some ways to finish. I think Quartermaster is too strong, and I think Diverskov is just another revenge with the body. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take out the Scab. We'll go back in and we'll add in the Farmhand. I think it's just too good. I mean, it was probably the best or second best white uncommon. We just have to have room for it. Okay. Curve's still looking super solid. 2s and 3s, and even our 1s are great. Okay, we're at our 10 uncommons. Let's get rid of 3 more commons. I don't know if we can have Larder Zombie and Startle both play similar roles of stopping damage, generating some card advantage with the draw card or with the sifting. I think we'd probably get rid of the Startle. Okay, let's do a Spirit count again. Okay, got 6. Okay, but we have a good amount of disturb still, I think. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's awesome. 6, yeah. Okay. I guess it's probably Morning Patrol. Those are all premium. Not huge on the infantry, but still need to have some 2-drops. No, we've got enough ones. I think we can back off there. Okay, so let's see what we got. Pretty low curve. A little more white than blue, but it's right there. 17 lands. Just a little bit of interaction. High on the creature count. Might be able to. He might not get these premium creatures. But we've got super solid. So Incidental Life Gain with the Lunar Veteran. Incidental Life Gain with the Traveling Minister. Tough to say which one was better. Lunar Veteran was so good in Midnight Hunt that it's probably still better than Minister. But I mean, they're both right there. Lantern Bearer gives something flying, early damage, block something later if you need to, or sack it. And the zombie. Farmhand, Angler, great. Sifters, if you can land this as a 2/3 on turn 2 and get some advantage from the draw, discard a Spirit or Disturb, you're in a great place. Skullbringer's was going to help us break through late. Graphkeeper's just so tough on both sides. I think the Kindly Answer's going to help slow down some of the aggro that can exist. And then you can put it on something else to hopefully a flyer or something you can give double strike to. Dawnguard is your card advantage. A-Bomb's a 2-for-1, a flyer. Intruder's a pseudo spell, asking to maybe block something and kill it. Card advantage. Brian Comer, even though we don't have as many things we're going to put on it, I mean, really we're just looking at Lantern Bearer, Kali Ancestor. I think you still play this. You can put Presence. It's going to attract attention. And you may end up with more cards that you put on it. Should be able to get Coven. Got 1s, 2s, some 3s. Silversmith may put counters on, Quartermaster counters. Yeah, I think this is something that, without any rares, is very playable. Can go up against your blue-black and probably grind them out. Go against your creature decks and generate enough initial presence with flyers and disposable creatures that you can keep them bay and just fly over the top. We've got a little bit of removal, pseudo removal in our Revenge, in our Nebelgast, removal in Borrowed Time, removal in Fierce Retribution. I think this will probably play. If you would build this differently, I'd love to hear about it. So just drop that in the comments. Thanks so much.